Thank you so much. Well, we continue to follow the news that John Boehner is stepping down from his seat in Congress, and many are asking the question, what's next? So joining us with a little bit more and some perspective is NKU political science professor Ryan Saltzman. Ryan, thanks for coming on this Saturday morning. You and I were talking in the green room, number one, before we get to what's next, about what happened initially and why he would have stepped down. And I mentioned to Ryan in the green room that I thought it was kind of shocking that he had a fear of being deposed, because in reality, my perception was it might not ever get to that point anyway, right?
I didn't really see a whole lot of evidence that the scale was about to tip in some kind of fundamental way. And I know that there was a resolution that had been offered right before the recess that they hadn't seen before. But again, I don't know what the support was going to be. So it's really hard to tell what actually tipped Speaker Boehner to this decision.
Well, and there are several factors in play in recent days. One that caught me, this is my own, guess, watching all of the coverage, is his reaction to Pope Francis. I saw him be very emotional when the Pope addressed Congress, and we saw him be very emotional when the Pope was standing on the Speaker's balcony addressing everyone in Washington. I mean, there's video of it right there. That was kind of your take as well, too, right?
It was. As a social scientist, we look at a change, and when a change happens, we try to take a couple steps back to immediately before the change and try to say, what determined that change? And the thing that happened immediately before that was Francis's visit, was the Pope's visit. We all know how meaningful that was to Speaker Boehner. And then if you take into account kind of the hostile work environment, for lack of a better word, that he had been experiencing, it was just enough maybe to actually inspire him, and maybe inspiration is the right word for it, inspire him to go ahead and take this next step.
Of course, we'll probably find that all out in years when we get a book.
That's right. He will write the memoir soon, and I'm sure he'll be very explicit. Everybody will want to know. But I'll tell you this, we'll be talking about it in my classes at NKU for years and years to come. This is really without precedent. Not only that he's stepping down from his leadership role, but that he's stepping away from Congress as well, and that none of this seems to involve a scandal of any kind. Usually when this happens, we think about Trent Lott stepping down from his leadership role some almost 15 years ago. There was a small scandal kind of involved with that. We don't see that here, so we're all going to be paying attention to the memoirs, to the biographies, and paying very close attention to what Speaker Boehner says moving forward.
But also the national media has been focusing on what happens to the Republican Party at that level, in that position now. I think what happens to the tri-state when he gives up that seat.
If you're living in the tri-state, you have to be discouraged. And I say that as a Kentuckian, somebody who lives across the river. Even I'm discouraged by the fact that we've lost so much leadership, and it creates a vacuum. So it's not that there would be a change of party. So Democrats out there that are optimistic that Boehner's seat will be replaced with a Democrat, sorry, it's probably not going to happen. So all you're doing is taking somebody with an extreme amount of leadership, a lot of power, and you're replacing them with somebody who will have no power institutionally. So that's got to be discouraging. And I know that there was a lot of feelings that Speaker Boehner had not been representing the people of this region. I think it's safe to assume that if there was something important to this region, that Speaker Boehner was advancing it. Not everything is pushed in terms of laws, bills, policy. A lot of it has to do with what he'll allow to move forward and what he'll prevent from moving forward. So there's a lot of conjecture there, but there's no doubt that this is a big loss for the region.
Ryan, thank you for that perspective. As always, we appreciate it.
My pleasure.
This conversation will undoubtedly continue, so we're going to break down a lot more information on the future steps from the announcement that John Boehner is stepping down on our website at fox19now.com. We'll have so much more after a quick break. Stay with us.